to help chime in on this particular case. Bob, a criminal defense attorney and the host of the podcast Defense Diaries, and Philip Dubé, a public defender, appearing on his own behalf here today. Bob, I can't get away from this financial material because it is, to me, such a huge issue. I think, Philip sort of mentioned it, I think, you let too much of this stuff in, I think you become, maybe an appellate problem arises because now you've gone too far. What are your thoughts on that?
Up until Tinsley testified today, I agreed with you. That premise, they just kept running one person up after another. Primarily testifying to basically the same concept. I thought that Tinsley, and they saved the best for last because he really tied it together for me because I just wasn't seeing the nexus through the first 5, 6, 7 witnesses they put up. When he came in and his testimony was very frank, and he was a very effective witness for the state in terms of explaining in layman's terms exactly what that Mallory Beach suit meant, and really the bottom line for him is that this impending hearing that was going to be coming up, where they were compelling Alec to turn over his financials and open the books, it really shed light. And he was very effective in saying, "Look, I didn't really care about seeing the books. It was about pressuring Alec into settling," and just taken in the context of what it was and the timing of it, with that thing coming up in lieu of what Philip had said with respect to Maggie doing her own digging, things were getting tight for him, to the extent where when Tinsley also said that he had had a conversation with Alec or his counsel that he was gonna haul Maggie and Paul both in personally in order to try to pierce the corporate veil and get to their personal holdings and assets. Those were very powerful things that tied together kind of the state's whole motive. So he was exceptionally powerful witness.
I think it's going to be very interesting, Philip, to see how they present this material to the jury. It's a whole different thing when you're presenting it to the court. I think you can cut some corners. I think you don't have to be so, C-spot run. Would you agree with that? And how do you think they're going to let this unfold for this jury so they do get it? The last thing you want is the jury to leave the day, scratching their heads. What the hell was that about?
I think there is a way for the defense to take this and run, and they can repurpose it into creating a defense of what we call Sadi. Some other dude did it. I truly believe, and I don't know if the defense is going to put this on, that people were after Alex Murdaugh. I have a feeling that he was indebted perhaps to loan sharks for maybe some type of non-public gambling addiction. And people were truly after him. And how they send a message to the debtor is they go after the family. They kill the wife, they kill the son, and the message to Alex is, "You're next." And that quote-unquote failed suicide attempt, I think, was a calculated effort on the part of Alex Murdaugh to set this defense in line, if you will, to set it up so that he was in fear for his own life, as evidenced by the death of his own wife and his son, and that he was next. They can just use this to point the finger to somebody else and use his gambling addiction and his drug addiction to his advantage. It clearly clarifies why somebody else could have or would have done this. You only need one for that doubt, just one.
That's for sure. And the fact that that story you tell isn't totally off the table suggests, you could find 1 or 2 people that are going that direction. And as we know, the attempt to have himself killed was to get the insurance policy, he says, for his remaining son, Buster. It is a big story. We're going to take a quick break here. Thanks, Philip Dubé. Always appreciate you being here. Bob's going to stick around. I'll be right back after this.